If you're wondering how to take the train here in South Korea, and if you were looking to save a little bit of money on those tickets, I got you. I got you. This is finally part 5 of a 5-part series all about transportation here in South Korea. There may or may not be a 6th part, but keep watching if you want to know how to take the train here in South Korea, how to book your ticket in advance, how to save some money while booking that ticket. Let me just preface, I know I talk a lot and I talk fast, so I've decided to start creating PDF document versions of all of my videos. So check out my store down below if you're interested in any of that. Let's get right into it. Trains, they are definitely fast and very convenient, but they are not my favorite mode of transportation here in Korea. I will explain why more so in the pros and cons section, but let's first talk about how to buy the ticket and how to take the train. The slower the train, the less expensive, but honestly, as a whole, all of the trains are nice. I've never been on a train in South Korea where I was like, ew, this is gross. Public transportation here, 10 out of 10. It's great. Trains leave so often, and I mean so often to every location. So you would probably only have to wait like 30 minutes to an hour. Honestly, sometimes just 10 minutes, 5 minutes because they go so often. The most common trains are the KTX, the ITX, and then you have the—
I just looked it up and realized I've been saying it wrong this whole time. It's called the Mugunghwa.
KTX, fast bullet train. And when I say it goes fast, it goes fast. It's not like scary fast, but it goes quite fast to the point where it will take me 2.5 hours to go from Seoul to Busan with the KTX, whereas the
Mugunghwa
will take 5.5 hours. The ITX, it's just a little bit slower, a little bit cheaper. However, I really like taking the
Mugunghwa
because you actually get to see Korea on that train, whereas the KTX is going so quickly through all of these tunnels. You're really looking at tunnels more than you are looking like out at beautiful nature. You have 3 options to buy your train ticket. The first one being arriving there and buying the ticket when you arrive. Let me just preface, on weekends, do not try to buy when you arrive. The tickets will be sold out until like maybe midnight, maybe even the next day. There are these kiosks in the train stations. Make sure you find a kiosk that either takes foreign cards, which are like the long, slim, slender ones in Seoul Station, or you find one that takes cash. The ones that say domestic and cash at the top, those are the ones that you could pay cash at, but there aren't many of those. At those kiosks, you can't really pick which seat that you would like to have. You can pick some options like what direction you want to face, but most of the time tickets sell out really fast, so they'll just give you whatever seat is available. Every cart on the train or car has seats that go like this, and so the row where they're like facing each other and you're literally going to sit with like knee to knee touching each other, those don't really sell very quickly because people don't really like sitting at them. So sometimes when you go to those and you're trying to buy it the day of, it'll be like, hey, just so you know, you're gonna be like sitting and bumping knees with the person in front of you. Hope you're okay with that. Sometimes that's the only option. Especially if you're trying to buy like 2 tickets, it often will put you as close as possible to that person, but you might not necessarily be seated next to them. But we'll talk about why it's really important later that you sit in your seat and you don't get up and just like go sit with your friend. But we'll talk about that later. If you do have a long-term visa and you've got in your Korean bank account and you have a Korean card, you can go onto the Korea Rail app or website and buy your ticket that way. When you're going to buy the ticket on that app, again, you can't just pick your seat, but the best option in my opinion is using Trazy, and I will link them below because if you do click that link, it does help my channel out a little bit, but I'm genuinely recommending this because it's the way for you to save money. It's the way that you can buy it in advance and be able to select your seat. And since it's all in English, it's so foreigner friendly. There's customer service if you have any questions. Quick overarching idea of what you can do on Trazy. Trazy has 2 types of train tickets. They have the flexible and then they have the consecutive tickets. And underneath both of those, they have saver options, but also it allows you to take the train as many times as you want on specific days that you buy. So it's kind of like an unlimited train pass. The flexible pass means that over the course of 10 days, you pick 2 or 4 days within a 10-day time span, and you can take the train as many times as you would like. And then the consecutive means that you have a chunk of like 3 days or 5 days, and you want to take the train on all of those days as many times, but it has to be like those 3 or 5 in a row. But in both of those categories, there's a saver option. So if you're going with a friend or 4 friends, so like if there's 2 or 5 of you in total, you can add the saver button so that all of you get an additional 10,000 won off of all of your tickets. So it's a great way to save money. Once you get your like confirmation, Trazy sends you all this information on how you can book your specific seat by going into the website Korail, and it gives you like a verification code, and then you can go in and pick the seats. If you bought your ticket with Trazy, you're gonna make sure you print that ticket out in advance Or some people said that they were able to just show it on their phone, but on the website it does say print it out. So just do that just to be super safe. I went ahead and listed out all of the frequently asked questions and my own questions that I asked in that PDF document. But if you do have a question or two, please pop it in the comments and I'm happy to answer it. Now let's talk about how to actually use the train. You're gonna arrive at the station and there are always these big black signs that have green running font, and those are showing the current trains that are about to come or are currently at the station. You're gonna look at your ticket and you're gonna see, okay, what time of what train am I taking? And look for your type of train. Make sure it's your train, and then it will say the platform that your train is arriving at. The trains often don't come until like 10 minutes before the train is about to leave. So don't be like, oh my gosh, where's my train? You'll then walk through the doors and there'll be all these signs pointing you towards platform this, platform this. So find the little escalator or the stairs, or there's usually elevators as well. If you have a lot of luggage, you might just have to look around a little bit harder, but you can go to that train platform. And once you get to the platform, there will be additional arrows pointing you to the different carts. So if you look at your ticket, it will show you what cart you are and then what seat number you are. There will be signs along the platform that say, oh, cart, number here, and that's where when the train arrives, that cart door will be right there. So make sure you find what cart you're at. Now, this is something that I've done and my friends have done all the time too. You walk on thinking, okay, so this is my cart, and then you might turn left or you might turn right, and it actually might be +1 or -1 of the cart that you're supposed to be going on. So let's say you're cart 9. So you walk on and you just turn left and then you're like, okay, I found my cart. But you actually might have just walked to cart 8 or cart 10. The way you can tell what cart you're in is near the doors above. There are always numbers. That shows what cart you're in. Don't make the mistake that I did where I just assumed I found the cart and then I was like, why is somebody in my seat? And now I'm having this broken conversation in Korean, like, I think you're in my seat. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh no, it's totally fine. It's this big event. I finally sit down. And then somebody else comes and is like, hey, Megan, you're sitting, well, they don't know my name. Hey, you're sitting in my seat. And then we're doing it again. And then I realize I'm in the wrong cart. And now because it's so silent on these trains, everybody's looking at us and I am just panicking. So moral of the story, look up. Make sure you're in the right cart, and then along the top of the cart, you can put luggage up there, or you can put your luggage by the door. There are like shelves and stuff that have CCTVs on them. Sometimes behind the very back seat, there's like an area you can shove your larger suitcases as well. But you'll be able to find your seat by looking up. There's like seat numbers running across the top, but you'll find your seat number. Make sure you're checking to see if it's the window or the aisle. But you sit down and you want to make sure that you sit in your seat 99% of the time. They don't ask to look at your ticket if you're sitting in the correct seat. If you're sitting in the wrong seat, they will say, on my little map between this station and this station, there shouldn't be anybody in this seat, so why are you here? And that's when they'll stop and talk to you. So you won't actually ever have to show people your ticket. So that's why it's very important to just sit in the seat that you bought. And if your friend was like, oh, I want to sit next to you for a little bit, they can if there's nobody there in between those stops, but be prepared that someone will come up and ask you, why are you seated here? So if you're looking to like not talk to anybody, just sit where you're supposed to sit. Shut up and just sit there. Okay. If you are trying to get off the train and it's not the final destination of that train, make sure you get up before the train stops at that stop and you go wait by the door and you get ready to get off, because the doors, they open for like maybe 2 minutes, but you don't have a lot of time. So you don't want to like start picking up all your stuff, go to get off the train, and then the train takes off. It's more focused about getting to its final destination than it is about stopping at each stop. Pros to the train, it's a really beautiful view if you take the slow train. I really enjoyed seeing the countryside of Korea taking the slow train. So I actually recommend it if you just want to have like a peaceful ride, you want to put on a little podcast or a little music and have a little drama moment in your brain, take the slow train. It's beautiful. Most of the time, you do not have to worry about any trains being late. They're usually the most accurate as far as like when they leave and when they arrive. Sometimes people want to take a flight, maybe from Seoul to Busan, but you don't have to pay for luggage if you take the train. So you could take as much luggage as you would like at no extra cost. If you're trying to go to Haeundae or like Gwanali Beach, both the train and the bus are going to drop you quite far away from the those beaches, so you will have to take like 30 minutes to an hour to get to those beaches. But the train does take you farther south, so if you were trying to go see like the very colorful village area in Busan, the train's gonna take you so much closer than the bus station does. Seoul Station is a great exit point for convenience, especially if you stay in Myeongdong. I talk about where to stay in Korea, so I would check that video out if you're wondering where to stay. But if you're a huge tourist, you're probably staying closer to Seoul Station than you are to Gangnam, so less travel time. There is a bathroom on the train, even sometimes it's a little gross, but there is a bathroom on the train, so you never have to worry about when you have to go to the bathroom, like if you have a small bladder. But let's talk about the cons. The train is the most expensive way to travel. If you use the saver tickets, that helps you because you're saving a lot more money, but it is the most expensive of all of the ways that you could transport yourself. You really need to buy your tickets in advance with the train, whereas the bus, you could just show up and buy a ticket, no problem, every time. You're taking stops all along the way, right? So it plays like this loud music to wake you up. On the bus, you just sit peacefully, and then they get to the bus stop and they're like, hey, if you want to get off and go to the bathroom, you can. Whereas the train is like 20 minutes of silence. Hey, if you're getting off here, wake up! And then 20 minutes. Now we have arrived here. So it's just like not a peaceful journey.
All right, I'm being a bit dramatic. The music's quite peaceful. However, I'm a light sleeper, right? So it kept waking me up. Okay, I was getting a little grumpy, all right?
You could set an alarm on your phone for like how long of a journey you have if you want to pop in like earplugs and then like soundproof headphones to sleep on the train. I'll take the bus when I want to sleep and the train when I want to work. For sickness reasons, there's a lot of people coming on and off the train, whereas the bus, there's like maybe 30 people. You're with those people the whole way. Maybe you're really looking to make sure you don't get sick. The bus is a little bit better because you don't have to worry about people coming and going as much. On the bus, you always get to pick your seat exactly, so you can kind of see like what side is the sun coming from. I don't want to get sitting in the sun the whole entire time, whereas with the train, it's a little bit harder to pick your seats. You have to go on to the website. You kind of have to buy your ticket in advance. This playlist is all of my other videos about different modes of transportation, and this is just a bunch of tips I wish I knew before I came here to South Korea. Like the video, leave any questions that you have down below, and I will see you over in one of these videos. Bye!